what I'm going to do is just tell you just a couple things about our next presenter. So it's Carine Clark. Carine is the CEO of Merit CX. Just a couple things so she has 25 years experience of leading software companies and just doing amazing things with them. Just a couple things that you can make note of. In 2015, Carine was ranked she was the CEO of the Year by Utah Business Magazine. She was also ranked by ExecRank as number 47 of all CMOs worldwide. She's also received the Women Tech Leadership Excellence Award and the 25th Annual Twin Award and the Silicon Slopes V100 Award. And then we got our Utah Business Magazine just yesterday, and look who I saw was on the cover as Entrepreneur of the Year. So my friends, we're in for a real treat. It's my pleasure to turn the time over to Carine Clark.
I haven't seen that magazine because I said to the guy when he took the picture, just make me look thin and young. So he's like, oh yeah, no problem. So thank you for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here today. As Greg said, I am the president and CEO of Merit CX. We build customer experience programs for some of the largest, now the sound is on, some of the largest companies in the world. Merit CX is about 175 million in revenue, pushing up to 200 million. And if you think about, okay, what's customer experience? We don't have good enough customer experience on the planet yet. So think of your cell phone provider. They know everything about you. They know where you are every day. They know when you make calls. They know how much you pay every month. They know when you're searching. They know what you're searching. And yet when you walk into the store, they don't know who you are, right? What if you walked in and they said, Mrs. Clark, thank you for being a 32-year customer. Thank you for giving us all that money because all your employees use our technology. And we know you only come into the store to buy hardware, so we're not going to waste any time for you. Here's the latest phone because we know you always buy the latest phone. We've already ported all your customers, all your contacts over. Does that ever happen? No. That's what we do. So today, we're going to have some fun today. Hopefully, we'll see. I'm going to talk to you about what it means to build a culture, grow your team, and think about maybe there's some things you could do differently. Maybe there's some things that you could change that will help your business thrive and grow and help your team when they go to bed at night on Sunday night. They're like, I can't wait to go to work tomorrow morning. I can't wait to be there. I don't want to be home anymore, right? Because most people Sunday night, they're like, oh, I don't want to go to work anymore. But imagine if you had a team and an organization and a company that attracted the top talent, where you didn't have to pay recruiters. My executive team, I have 12 vice presidents. They all came to the company because I asked them to. I do pay them, there's that. But I didn't pay a penny in recruiting fees because our company is a wonderful place to work and we're growing. People want to be with successful teams. People want to be where they can make a difference. People want to be where they can see their fingerprints on the success. They want to be where people will listen to them. They want to be where they're trusted. And companies do better when employees understand the brand, they understand what needs to happen for the company to grow. People want to be at companies that are winning, and they want to be where they can have fun. So today we're going to talk about building your culture, growing your team, and then how do you watch it thrive? How do you make sure it does everything that you want it to do? Well, now we're going backwards. So we put, Merit CX really is the marriage of two companies. So Allegiance Software, a small technology firm in South Jordan, Utah, about 7 million in revenue, 13 by the time it was merged. All developers, a few salespeople, engineers who wore shower shoes but never showered. True story, true story. In their 20s, wanted to have Pop-Tarts for nearly every meal. If you fed them, they would never leave. They didn't drive to work, they took tracks. The founder, fabulous, Adam Edmonds, started the company in 2009, graduated with a master's in accounting, but didn't want to actually have a job. So his claim to fame is that he's never really had a job. And so when I came to work there in 2013, they said, oh, finally the grown-ups have showed up. Wonderful company, kind of like a teenager. Not a lot of discipline around things that might help the company grow, but had been very successful. And then Merit's Market Research, part of a $1.8 billion family business that has been around for 122 years. that their average tenure for employee was 21 and a half years. So longer than most of the employees at Allegiance have been alive. Truly, very structured, wonderful company, wonderful brand, about 160 million in revenue, done some of the largest customer experience programs on the planet. Think of Ford Motor Company in 60 plus countries and 60 plus languages and a 40-year contract. It's 20 million a year. So more money in one contract than Allegiance. So marry these two companies together. What a task. So the first thing we had to do is figure out, okay, what employees do we have? We had two organizations, very different. I would not hire the woman in the center. I think she might be the Unabomber. This guy might be an undertaker. You probably have folks in your company like this too, where you're like, not so sure if they really belong here, but who do you have in your company? What are they doing for you? Okay? So we put Merit CX together. We said, all right, we have a special opportunity here to do something different. We can build the culture, we can build the company that we want, because there's wonderful things from both organizations that we should consider, and there are things from both organizations that we don't love. Like the no showering bit was not my favorite. So if you look at your culture for your organization, so I know a lot of you work together for a while. I know a lot of you are in government jobs. Some of you might be in smaller family businesses. You can ask these questions no matter what you do. So does your culture really drive what you're doing? Are there unintended consequences of your culture? And I'll talk more about that. How old is your culture? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Are there things that you love about your teams? Things that you don't love about your teams? Are you stuck with your culture? If you're in a family business, you might be stuck with that, but there's still things that you can do. Is your company a loose confederation of warring tribes? Because a lot of companies are like that, right? We will get along until we can stab you in the back. Does your company operate on a scarcity mentality, or you have abundance? You can tell because if there are no Post-it notes in the office storage cabinet, that means there's scarcity. I'm going to take it so I have it if I need it, right? But you're laughing because people do that. Paper clips too, the big paper clips, right? I can always tell if organizations are scarce or abundance based on the supply cabinet. Is there harmony in your company? Or do you have artificial harmony? Where let's all get along, but we really can't stand each other, right? Well, this is the organization I wanted to build, right? This is my team. I actually have a guy that's like this. I am Groot. I have that guy. He's fantastic. Are your employees empowered? Are they self-thinking? Are they self-healing? Are they pretty resilient? Are they able to bounce back? Are they fully formed adults, right? Or do you have children that you're babysitting? I have some children that I'm babysitting. Do you have people in your organization that come to you and say, I only have 12 ceiling tiles in my cubicle, and the guy next to me has 14 ceiling tiles? That is a true story. That is not someone I want in my organization. So I'm like, could you tell me your name again? Because I want to make sure I get rid of you. Do you have people that, hey, we're talking about what's it going to take to grow, right? We're going to talk about what it takes to thrive. And when you got that employee counting the ceiling tiles, I promise you, the other employees don't like that guy. Because he's not helping, because he's spending time counting the ceiling tiles. Do you have people who are always asking about their salary? The thing that cracks me up about that is that the employee that asks me about their salary, well, I need to make more money. And it's like, you came here for that crummy salary, right? You must be a terrible negotiator. A job is, I'm trading you your time for, like, I'm giving you money to do a job. So if you took a low salary and that's just going to be your grind forever, that's really on you. Right? So we should have the salary conversation once a year. If you have an employee who's focused on they focus on their salary, they might not be the right employee for your team. Do your employees have a sense of urgency? Are they hungry? They want to get things done. Are they abundant? Do they want the whole organization to succeed? Or are they the one that's like, if I win, but I don't care if anybody else wins? Do you have a tribe of believers? Do they believe in their quest? Or do you have some non-believers? You have some folks in there that, maybe they don't really believe what you're doing. Does your tribe, I call my team my tribe, because there's a lot of thought around how the tribe works, and everybody has an important job to do. And that my job just means the music stopped, I'm in that chair, and my job's different from their job, but there's a lot of tribal things that translate really well to our company. Do you have employees who feel like they're entitled? Right? That doesn't help the organization. I wanted an organization that didn't feel entitled. I wanted an organization of abundance. I wanted people who would relish in other people's success. I wanted an organization that had integrity, that was not afraid to push the executives, that was not afraid to say, hey, that's a mistake, right? Do you have that? Do you have people that can push? Do you have employees that can mine for conflict? That you're in a meeting, something feels choppy, and they're able to say, hang on, it doesn't feel like you're convinced. Help us understand that. Is that what your team does? Because a team that does that moves very quickly, moves really quickly through problems, moves really quickly through failure. Loved Greg's presentation because if your team can embrace failure and learn from it, I'm in a very innovative company. We have failure all the time. I've learned more from my failures than any of my successes. So do people learn and grow from their failures? My employees, I wanted them to trust us. I wanted them to know that we're going to take care of them. And I wanted to be the best place for them to work so that when they were done with their career, they looked back and said, oh, that time we spent at Merit CX was magical. Like unicorns came out every day, right? And I wanted them to see their contribution to that. I wanted to say, we did some really hard things, but look what we did, and look how awesome it was. And I have friends, and I care about these people. And I want employees who understand the skills that they have and the skills that we need to help them get. I wanted employees who were brave, who we could trust and they could trust us. So I'm going to share with you some changes we made for both companies and how this has created this culture. Is it perfect? No, because the unicorns aren't there yet. But we have a lot of fun. So you should build what you want. Make sure you review your policies. Make sure they're driving what you care about. Make sure it's really getting you what you need. I had an opportunity to present at this Global World Forum for site selection. And Conway is the company that managed it. I met with the CEO of Conway, and we had this conversation about dress code. So he came to my office, and he's like, wow, your people work in their pajamas. And I'm like, this is true. I dress like this, but the rest of the kids don't necessarily. And he's like, is that weird for you? And I'm like, no, I don't really care what they wear as long as they wear something, right? So he said, our company has a very strict dress code. And I said, is that getting you what you want? I don't know. I said, it should be getting you what you want. If it's a policy and a code that you're willing to enforce and have your people run through hoops, it should be giving you what you want. He said, I think it is. So fast forward, I go to a conference, speaking at a conference, and his employees kept coming up to me and they're like, oh, we're so glad he met you. We're so glad he spent time with you. I was like, oh, yes, because I'm so interesting, right? He changed the dress code policy. And he came up to me later and he said, they love me. And it was free. It didn't cost me anything. All I did was change the policy, and I told him I trust him not to wear Daisy Dukes and a halter top, right? And they loved me for it, and it cost me nothing. I'm like, see, when you look at what you have and is it driving what you really need, then you got to pay attention to that. And that's part of the culture, that we trust each other, that we're going to make sure that the rules and the policies and what we build is actually driving our business. So we brought the two companies together. A company with 21 and a half average tenure, 21 and a half years average tenure. What do they care about? They care about tenure, right? I have employees that have been employed for 40 years at the company, 40 years. I'm like, oh my gosh, did you ever wonder what could have been? No. These are not really my people, but they're my people, right? So, and they've been in the same job with the same title for 40 years. And their salary hasn't gone up a lot in 40 years. That, for me, that's death. But for them, it's security, right? So part of the organization, they care about tenure. I don't care about tenure. I love that people are loyal, but I only want the good employees to be loyal, right? I don't want the campers to be loyal. You know, the ones that just kind of show up and they move into their cubicle and, oh, it's time for my break, right? I don't want those guys to be loyal. So we had to look at tenure. If you're there 20 years, you get a parking spot, which is cool. If you drive, right? The employees at Allegiance don't drive. Some of them can't drive. I have a 16-year-old employee who goes to high school, who's a pretty good coder, whose mother drives him to work. True story. His name's Jensen. He's fabulous, but he can't drive. So he's not going to care about a parking spot. So if that's your reward, a parking spot, it's not going to work in an organization that doesn't drive. A lot of my employees take tracks. They're green employees. They ride their bicycles. So we had to change this. So I said, look, if you have a parking spot, keep it. Fantastic. But if you want a parking spot, get to work early, right? I'm not going to do parking spots anymore because you don't get to stay here for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, 1,000 years, just because. We want good employees. We want employees to be engaged and to be happy to be here. So what are the perks that your people care about? Okay, so we changed this. Got rid of the parking spots. But we have other perks. All right, the other thing we changed was the dress code. Because the dress code at the parent company was really nice suits, slacks. We have some of the largest accounts, financial services and automotive accounts on the planet. And when those customers show up, we are suit and tie. Even me, I wear a tie that day, right? Because that's how they dress. But to make the whole company dress that way, it's kind of weird to me. So our founder, I told you he doesn't wear socks or a belt. And he wears shower shoes. And so he's like, I can't dress like this. I can't dress a dress coat. I can't work here anymore. But I need people like him to want to work at this company. I was at the facility and there was a gentleman, a very nice dressed gentleman that had a sticker with a pair of jeans on. I'm like, you're kind of a grown man. Tell me about the sticker. He's like, well, I've earned the right to wear jeans. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is a weird thing to me, right? Why don't we trust you? So we changed the dress code. The dress code is dress for the day. That is all, right? That's it. Dress for the day. If you have customers, dress for the customers. If you're going to be sitting in your office all day, working on your computer, building wonderful code, I don't care if you wear your pajamas. I don't care if you wear shower shoes. I do care if you shower, but I don't care how you dress, right? I'm going to trust you. If you have a dress code, is it important? Is it driving the behavior that you want? So I have friends at Zions Bank. They have a dress code. They need a dress code because they're going to be with clients and customers all day long. They're trying to present a brand and an image. Make sure that the rules that you have, the policies that you have, match what you're trying to do. Our dress code's gone really well. The guy with the sticker, he's like, I actually paid for this sticker. I want my money back. I'm like, no. You get to wear jeans every day now, right? You're welcome. That's your gift. But I will make a donation to United Way for what you spent so that it's not a total lost cause, right? So when I talk to the employees, they're like, we love that you trust us. And guess what? They wear what their wardrobe is. They wear the slacks and the shirts. They wear what they have. They don't go out and buy new clothes. Okay. I have some crazy people at my company. These are not actually at my company, but make sure that it's doing what you want. These guys, they love having a lot of fun. Your company will love having a lot of fun. All right, some days people have casual Fridays. I just tell my guys, look, just wear what you want. Since I'm the CEO, I meet with a lot of executives. I'm always in a suit. I don't think I've worn jeans one time to work. And it's fine because it fits. Dress for the day. All right. Vacation policies. So everyone has vacation policies. My vacation policy is take your vacation. That's it. Take your vacation. So the policy we had before was everyone tracked, you earned for tenure, right? Every day you were there extra, every year you were there, you got an extra day, and we had 3 people that tracked it all the time. And you had to use it by the end of March, or it expired. So there was no carryover. So what do you think happened in March? The very last month of the quarter, the very last month of the year, the most important time for us to close business and to get things done and before taxes, what do you think happened in March? Nobody was there. Talk about crummy customer experience. Every human gone. I'm like, how is this driving what we want? And who goes on vacation in March? Like, where do you go? Like, there's not really anything fun to do in March. Like, your kids are still in school. Hey, stay in school, but let me go take a vacation someplace. I mean, it's like, this is like a terrible idea. So when we asked, is the vacation policy driving what we want? No. People would go home and do a staycation at their house and still work. This is not driving what we want. So at the end of March, I said, let's let everybody clean off their books, and we're going to do what we had done at Allegiance, which is there's no tenure. We want you to take vacation. Take as much as you need. If you take 12 weeks in a row, you will be on permanent vacation. Right? You got to be smart about it. So what we said is we trust you. We trust you. We want you to work with your management to schedule your vacation. Some days you're going to need more. Some years you're going to need more. Some years you're going to need less. Take your vacation when you want to take it. Get your job done. That's it. And those 3 people that were tracking vacation all the time, we need you to actually help the customers. You're not going to track any more vacation. We're not going to track any more vacation. So, true story, I had a woman contact me from Brigham Young University. She wants to work on our team. She's been at BYU for 25 years. And she won't apply to other companies because she won't get as much vacation at the other companies because they track tenure, years of service for number of vacation days. So that one change for us means that we're attractive to engineers that are seasoned, who have been at their companies for a really long time, that will not leave their companies because they don't want to walk away from these perks that they've gotten. And so when I was looking across the team, it's like, oh, this is why when we open up senior position of vice president of engineering, we get some really good candidates because they can still take vacation, which they feel like they've earned. So think about, is your vacation driving what you need? There are companies, so the CEO of Evernote, he gives his employees $1,000 spending money to spend on vacations. They have to go, oh, there's a better one. There's a better one. Full contact center, cloud-based contact center. They give their employees $7,500 a year to go on vacation with their family. That's for a family of 4. And they have to show that they've actually gone on vacation. You think those employees love that company? Yeah, they're the ones that Sunday night, oh, I can't wait to get to work, right? So make sure your vacation policies are doing what you want it to do, okay? All right, benefits. I love benefits. Because I'm one of those people that thinks companies should take care of their employees, that you should provide really good benefits. I'm also one of those executives that believes the employees shouldn't have to pay a lot out of pocket because it's a hardship for a family with children. So, one, if you're the employee, plus 1 more, plus children. And it just feels to me that companies that are doing well really should take care of their employees. You guys probably all have great benefit programs. But when we were at Allegiance, and even Altiris before that, which was the company I was before Symantec, is that Greg Butterfield taught me if you can pay 100% of their out-of-pocket expense, that's a benefit. So we've made that a differentiator for our employees, that we really try to cover their costs and provide really good benefits so that they can take care of their families. So when a company's self-insured, sometimes they kind of lose sight of what you're trying to do. So when we put the 2 companies together, benefits programs were really different. The Allegiance employees had no out-of-pocket expense for their benefits. Now remember, they're a young population, right? So I can do that. I can do that and act like it's a big deal when, it was not that much more expensive for me to cover their costs. Remember, the other companies has an older population, right? These employees have been there for their whole career. So their out-of-pocket was $550 a month out-of-pocket for a family. And they had to provide blood tests once a year, them and their spouse. My husband is never going to drag himself in to give somebody blood. So I was like, this isn't going to work. I got to have a better program. So I went to a really nice company called Diversified and said, here's what I want. I want the best benefits that I can provide. healthcare, dental, eye, because I want to take care of these employees, and I want it to be a competitive advantage for recruiting people. When they look at us, I want to be like, oh yeah, benefits best, no out of pocket. So came back with a proposal, worked on it with the team. It ended up that we put a health savings program together, and the out of pocket for employees was $15. So what do you think the Allegiance employees were like? Are you kidding me? $15 a month? Ah. I was like, could you guys grow up for me just for one day? What do you think the other company that came together with us? They were like, 15? You mean 150? I'm like, no, 15. They're like, is this a joke? You don't have to give any blood. Like $15 out of pocket. And all the money you put in your health savings account that I match, you get to keep. When you leave me, you get to keep that. They're like, we're never going to leave you. $15. So great. Benefits matter, right? It matters that your kids need asthma medicine and that you got heart medicine. And I mean, it matters. This can make a difference. My employees super loyal because I hire the best people. And guess what? The best people have options. So the best people get recruited. So the best people are always getting people calling them and say, hey, come work for my company. So if I can have one more reason for people to stay, the best people, this is one of those reasons. All right. This is one of my favorite subjects. Performance reviews. I picked this image myself because, like, performance reviews haven't really changed a lot in the last, I don't know, 50 years. It's kind of caveman stuff, right? So you fill out all this 360 information, you get all the people that really like you to fill out the information, you consolidate it all together, you tell your boss, this is why I'm so great. You sit down with your performance review once a year, you find out that you're ranked at the bottom, right? That's ridiculous. You should never find out at a performance review information that you don't already know. When they tell you we're going to put you on a performance improvement plan, it should not be a surprise to you. You should be like, oh, you should put me on months ago, right? It should never be a surprise for you. Except we as a culture are a bunch of big fat chickens. We are. We don't want to tell people when they're not measuring up. We don't want to tell people when they have behavioral issues. We don't want to tell people when their performance is not where it should be. But we make ourselves do it once a year at a performance review. Right? To me, that is just, it goes against everything I believe, and it's an integrity issue. If you think I'm doing a terrible job, then you should tell me, and tell me soon, and tell me what I need to do to improve. Tell me what the bar is, tell me what I got to do to get there, and I will get there. So the performance reviews in my company, very different. We have a website, you go and put your goals in, your manager looks at it, approves it, and then we pay you your bonus based on how well you do in those goals. And we have frank conversations all the time. So we're always mining for conflict. And we believe that we trust these employees and that we trust them with information about how they're doing and that we are brave to tell people that they're not measuring up. Okay? So I have 12 executives and they get feedback from me all day long. You are terrible at this. And they're like, why you gotta tell me that way? I'm like, okay, you suck. That translates to the same thing. Get this fixed. It's never a surprise with me. And I want that to be all the way down to the organization. And it's hard to do because you got to teach, train, you got to help people understand how they need to have the language of that. Because we're not born with that naturally. We're not born handling conflict naturally. But if you really love someone, and I use love not in a weird way, but I mean, if you have you care about your employees, they deserve to know the truth. They deserve to know if you don't think they're measuring up. And they deserve to know what you're going to do to help them, okay? So I see so many organizations that put up with really bad behavior, put up with really poor performers. So one of the hardest things to manage is a top performing employee who's a horrible human, right? So they're performing everything that they've listed, but yet the organization, people are looking for ways to kill them. Nobody wants to follow them, and they're kind of a bully, right? Those are the hardest people to get out of the organization. They're hard because you get seduced by the fact that they're producing. I had a sales guy producing all this revenue. Everyone hated him. And finally, I'm like, we have to get rid of you. He's like, I'm producing. I'm like, nobody wants to follow you. Nobody wants to do demos for you. People want you to fail. That means I fail if people want you to fail, okay? So think about your performance reviews. Think about, are they really driving conversations that you should be having all the time? Are they really driving improved performance? Is it really measuring what you care about? When I worked at Symantec, I was a chief marketing officer. And when you're an executive, they don't really do performance reviews. Someone's like, oh yeah, they're not terrible, and so let's give them a raise. And so every year I wrote up this document of reasons to believe why I am your best employee, right? And it was a bit cheeky, but I was very specific about things that I thought that I had accomplished. Very measurable. So when I quit Symantec, I went back to my file. All those things were in my file, like he had written them about me. And I was like, okay, I'm onto something here. I'm going to rewrite my own future, right? I'm going to rewrite my own history. But I had made the effort to help my boss understand what my contribution was to the organization. You should be talking to your employees all the time. You should be managing employees all the time, because the most expensive resource you probably have is your people. And the better the organization is at managing performance, at managing growth, the more the organization will thrive. Okay, how do you communicate inside of your organization? What tools do you use? If you call me, you cannot leave me a voicemail, because I don't have voicemail, because I never check it. I had voicemail for years. I'm like, why do I have voicemail? I never check it. If you want to get to me, you got to be like Chris. Chris did not leave me a voicemail. Chris is the reason I'm here, by the way. Mr. Charming, I might add. Please come meet with the best people. Yeah, let's give him a hand, because seriously. My team said, really? You're going to Cedar City? I'm like, have you met Chris? Only reason I'm here. And you guys. How do you communicate with each other? He didn't call me and leave me a voicemail. He sent me an email. Send me an email, because that's my currency. Email, text. My company, email, text. Everything is immediate. And if I send someone a text, I get a response back within the minute. Email within the minute, because that's how, and not because it's me, they might be afraid of me, but it's the rest of it's how we operate inside our company. We don't have a fax machine. We don't have much paper. We scan stuff on the computer, on the printer, and that's how, if we have to have paper. Someone said, I need to send you a fax. I'm like, we don't need to work together. We don't, right? What's your language? How do you communicate? And how do you tie everyone together? Are you using Twitter? Are you using Facebook? Are you using email? How do you communicate? Because if your army of employees can actually communicate outside about your brand and what you're doing, you can go faster. We had to teach the company, this is how you tweet, and this is why you tweet, and this is what you don't tweet. We had to tell everybody, you need to have LinkedIn, you need to have profiles. We want people to see our employees. We had to teach them how to do this. We had to teach them that there's a certain language that they were missing out on. Okay, we talked a lot about building your culture, and we talked a little bit about growing the team. So I mentioned that your most important asset really is your people. How productive are they? What is the ultimate objective for your organization? My ultimate objective is to build the best customer experience programs in the world. We're the world's largest customer experience company. My next competitor is half my size. So we have an opportunity to change the world, and everyone knows that. Everyone knows I call them my tribe. They call me Mama Bear because they know I'm so protective of them. But I'm also kicking their butts when they're not doing stuff. Can I say that here? Be swift to get rid of bad humans. We talked a little bit about bad humans. They don't help your organization. And when you finally get one out, the rest of the team can start to grow and can start to expand. They will surprise you. They will do great things. Teach your team the language of speaking up, not out. There's a difference. When you speak up, you say, I've identified this problem and I think I have a way to fix it. I need your support. Can I keep going? Yes, please, keep going. Speaking out is, this is terrible, this is terrible, this is terrible. All they do is complain, complain, complain. And those employees, they're not helping you. They're slowing you down. Get rid of fear. Fear doesn't help you get what you need done. Imagine how your team could operate if they were never afraid. If they were never afraid to call back a customer, if they were never afraid to challenge you, if they were never afraid to push, imagine how much your organization can do. And look at yourself. See if you're creating that fear or if you're afraid too. Invest in the team. Teach them. Spend time with them. Mentor them. Help them understand what you expect from them and what they need to do. Hire for fit, and potential. Err on the side of potential. I had 2 candidates. One I felt had more potential than the other one. Both had great resumes, both had great pedigrees, both really terrific candidates. One of them, the one that I didn't know had enough potential, feel like had enough potential, did not know the name of the front desk person that had managed their schedule for 2 days. So in my book, that was a bad human. Because the other guy knew her name and actually brought her a little box of chocolates because she had done so much work for him. And I'm like, I'm picking him. And my team's like, this other guy's so great. I said, might be a bad human. Because Michelle runs our front desk. No one wants that job. She's done it for like 4 years. She's like a Black Mary Poppins. She just loves everyone in the bosom of our company. She's important to me. And the guy that knew her name and spent time with her, because she did their schedules both for 2 days. So we hired the other guy. So far, he's perfect. Embrace the millennials. They're not going anywhere. They're this generation's hippies. Okay? I love the millennials because I understand them. They're digital natives. They bring their own hardware to work. They don't need an office. They don't count office tiles. They're only going to stay 2 to 3 years. If I can get them to stay 3 years, it's perfect. But they're not loyal. But they're smart. And they know how to get things done. And sometimes you got to beat them upside the head. So I have one millennial who came into my office. He's like, hey, I'm taking this other job with a competitor. I was like, okay, well, talk me through that. Kind of unpack that for me. I go, are they paying you a lot more money? No, not really. Same salary. Okay, are they buying you a car or something? No, not really. You have a non-compete with me, right? A 2-year non-compete because of the job that he's in. He's like, yeah, but I didn't think you're going to sue me. I'm like, I'm not. My attorneys are. And you're going to be poor. And he's like, well, I'm already living in my parents' basement. I'm like, okay, so what is it you need? He's like, I just need a change. Okay, how about this job over here? Completely different change. And I'll even give you more money. You do that for me? Yeah. You're a millennial. Go take this job. I just want to kill him. It's like he failed some IQ test. He's one of the smartest guys I got. He's a millennial. He's like, you're not going to beat me later for this? I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to beat you. But please don't be so stupid in the future. Seriously. They're not going away. You need them. They're good employees, but you got to beat them upside the head sometimes, right? And you got to love them because I have 40 interns at my company. I have 40 interns in Utah at my company. And they are fabulous. And they push us and they build wonderful programs. But I just want to beat them sometimes. And I tell them, I love you guys, but there's a Rubicon between us sometimes. Because when you ask me things I think are stupid, I'm going to tell you, that's a dumb thing. They're like, we want to learn, but we want to travel. And we don't really want to have an office. So embrace the millennials. Be loyal to your top performers. Because the rest of the organization will know that. Pay for performance. Make sure you always take care of your top performers. They'll never leave you. And pivot when you need to, like a skilled basketball player. If you made a wrong hire, get rid of that person. Right? I'm not saying you've got to run your business, though. People say, oh, that's so harsh. No. My company is one of the fastest growing companies in the world because we pivot when we have to. And I make mistakes, and I own those mistakes. And people want to contribute. People want to be part of a winning organization. And then watch it thrive, really. Because if you build an organization, you will find the campers. You build an organization like this that's fast, that people are mining for conflict, there's no politics, you will find the campers. A camper is someone who has quit and stayed. You know who those people are too. They've quit and they've stayed. You don't really want to work with them. They're like punching a clock. They do the minimum amount. Whenever I talk to my employees, I'm like, I know who you are, and either you leave or I throw you out. Because if you don't want to be here, thank you for what you've done, please go. Because we want people who want to be here. We're going to thrive as a team, and we don't need anyone slowing us down. So thank you what you've done. And I had employees said, look, I'm a researcher. I don't really want to be at a tech company. Thank you for being honest. Thank you. Let's help you find another job. First, let's fix your LinkedIn that you never have ever done before, and let's make sure it shows what you've done. But please go somewhere else, because people should be where they want to be. I tell my team, Lincoln freed the slaves, right? We don't have any slaves. And if you do this, you'll actually have really happy people.
They will love to come to work. They won't leave you. You have to throw them out. They won't want to leave. They'll love building something special. This is our employee handbook. You see, it's not a handbook, right? The other handbook we had was like 200 pages. And I said, who has read this? And this one guy's like, yeah, I've totally read it. I'm like, I put a $100 bill on page 45. He's like, well, I didn't get to 45. I'm like, that handbook is not helping us do what we need to do. This is our handbook. It says, embrace challenges, be a humble champion, try harder, go farther, lift others, show integrity, create great experiences, confront your fears, share happiness, be positive, enjoy life, smile more. This is what my company is about. And we have our employees take that bandana whenever they're on hard challenges. So they've climbed Kilimanjaro, they rode Lodija, there was a big race in California last weekend, and then they have that bandana, they send me those pictures, right? Because they're doing what that bandana says, love life, lift others. This is entirely possible. This is what we have at our company. And you can have this in your family, because really life is too short for crummy customer experience, and life is too short to be at a company that you don't love. And life is too short not to be at a place where you are valued and you are loved and that you're part of lifting others. All right, I have just a couple minutes. I can take a couple questions. I did bring some swag to pass out to those brave few that want. I like to ask a question, or I can give it all to Chris. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here you go. You are a member of Merit CX Elite. But we got to take a picture when I come off stage, okay? Ooh, I got a kiss. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Isn't he lovely? Chris, can I take him home with me? Any other questions? I want to make sure. Yes, sir.
Well, what advice would you give to a millennial who has to manage other millennials?
So it's okay. There's help. Be a student of what motivates them. They love experiences. They love opportunity. So the millennials that work for me, here's the speech I give them. You would never have a job, no other company will hire you for the jobs I'm giving you. Because I have a no beast of burden rule for my interns and my millennials. Meaning, if you come work for me, you're not going to make copies, you're not going to clean up junk. I'm going to say, I need you to improve our social program, go. Right? I give them really meaty projects. That's how I was able to hire 40 interns. Be a student. Figure out what they like, what they don't like. They value their time. Plus, they suffer from simultaneous partial attention. Think about it. It's like a thought grenade. It'll go off. You'll be like, oh, I get it.
You're not wrong.
I'm not wrong. They can listen to music and have Facebook open and play a game and write and talk and text their mother at the same time. This is my little millennial over here. This 22-year-old applied physics neuroscience major at Brigham Young University who did a TED Talk at 15. And because I understand that that's how he operates, he doesn't have to live in my world. I can make sure that his world, where he can thrive, is productive for him. People tell me, I hate my millennials. I'm like, you are going to fail. You're never going to be, you have to embrace them because they are wonderful. They're so smart. They look at the world with a different lens, and that lens will help you do a better job taking care of your customers. Because guess what? Some of your customers are millennials. One more question? Any more questions? Yes, sir. So I work really closely with a lot of universities to help young people understand that there are terrific jobs in tech that are not code-based. You don't have to be a coder, you don't have to be a programmer. So the first advice I give people is you need to understand technology. So not enough to say, okay, I know how to do Excel, I know how to do Word. You need to understand basic programming, even though you're not going to program. There's a book called Python for Kids. It's a paperback book. It's super simple. It has pictures. It's paperback. It's on Amazon. It's a good way for you to just look at, okay, this is how people think differently. Understand the language of what does cloud-based mean? What does software as a service mean? There's so much out there. There's a wonderful site called Khan Academy, K-A-H-N, I think that's how you spell it. You can go get a machine learning class that's super cheap or free that teaches you what does it mean, artificial intelligence? What does machine learning mean? Just immerse yourself in what does it mean to be tech. To me, technology means you're using technology to make it easier to take care of whatever it is that you do. Don't think, oh, I'm not a coder, I can't get there. Because I need people who understand marketing, sales, who understand operations, who understand tech support, who know how to talk to customers. Of my company, only less than 200 are engineers. I have 1,000 employees, full-time employees, and 1,200 part-time employees. Only 175 are engineers. The rest of them understand what it means to be a technology company. They know that they can't leave me voicemail, right? Because it's a different cadence. And don't be afraid of technology. Technology is a wonderful existence because there's a lot of venture money going into technology. There's a lot of investing going into technology. There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of fast growth companies. Utah, pretty great state for technology. So you saw that, I didn't even see that magazine, Entrepreneur of the Year. Whoa. The thing is that I know how to grow things. So it's not that I'm really an entrepreneur, I just am not afraid to make mistakes. I love technology, and so that's a very fast flywheel to be on. It's great for young people too. So make sure you're encouraging your young people, stay in school, get as technical as you can be. If you know how to read that Python book, go online, there are a ton of courses. And we need more young people staying in technology, and that's what will help Utah stay Silicon Slopes like it has been. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and I have some more swag. If you want to come up, I'll give it to you.